So let's pray in, man, and just take a moment, take a deep breath. Father, we ask that you remove all pride and ego and selfishness and self-centeredness, dishonesty, nervousness, anger, worry, anxiety, and just remove these things from us and divorce us from these things. Allow us to communicate and build a relationship with you. Give me strength and power to carry your message and not my own. Keep my mouth closed and open up yours. Invite the Spirit in the room and into the group and into the people's lives watching. And we ask that we have an encounter with you. Amen. So we've been going through some inventory, and coming around for a while, you'll hear people talk about inventory and how oh man, it's scary and stuff like that. And usually that people who are talking about inventory of how it's so hard and difficult is usually people that haven't done inventory. What's hard was like I know every creak to learn every creak in my mom's steps, right? To creep up the stairs while they're sleeping, open the door up without it creaking, knowing where to, and then pushing it all the way open, getting on the ground, army crawling across the floor, doing a twist and a somersault under my dad and mom's bed because it sits high, go in my dad's pocket, grab some money without the dog making too much fuss, and get out of there without them waking up. That was hard. Inventory is a far cry from being difficult when you think about some of the stuff that we did. And it is scary because if your first time through inventory, I know my first time through inventory was definitely scary. It was a scary thing because I seen big chunks of truth about myself, and at first it was disturbing, but when you're first doing inventory, it's like for most of us like that been through the ringer, we're talking about like part 3 in the stories type of people. We already know we're dirty. We already know we slimy. We already know most of the stuff that we did and how horrible people we were. So it was kind of like trying to get in the inventory was easy to see. I was like, I already know this. Those of you that haven't done another inventory, you're through your first time in inventory. The second time through inventory is more difficult because it's like especially when you're living this life, right? And like I'm Mr. Spiritual, right? And I'm trying to do all this good stuff and live this life and carry the message and like practice these principles trying to practice these principles in all my affairs, sponsoring guys and all that stuff. And you think like you're this great dude, and then you do inventory again, and then you realize, oh snap, yep, stuff is still there, And it's more difficult to see because you're thinking, I already been through this and I'm not that way anymore. Then you see you are that way again, and it's like, oh man. So it gives us something to strive for and to get better. So that's a good way to begin. And we've been talking about the fourth column and how important the fourth column is because I need to see that stuff. I remember it actually hit me in a meeting. I was in a meeting down here in Florida, and I was at a group. I'd just been through inventory, and I remember sitting there, and I was like, oh, like really disturbed about the things that I did to my mother, you know, yelling, cursing my mother out, stealing all her stuff, watching my mother with her hands in her face, you know, crying as I drive past the bay room window, and she's just in there crying because she caught me taking her car with all her stuff in it, and I look over and I seen her, and it hurt. It was really hurtful, and I was like, oh man, look at my mom. But I put my foot on the pedal and kept going anyway, because I had this craving beyond my mental control. So when I seen all that stuff with my mother, I was like, I can't believe that I did do this stuff. And I was disturbed. And I remember sitting in the meeting, and then it just hit me. It was like a button came on, and it was like, oh my gosh. If I didn't see that stuff, then I wouldn't. That's the whole point in inventory, is so I can see the stuff that is I don't see. And then the point of a fifth step is to have someone show me stuff that I don't see. You know, and when I got to see it, now I know what I'm able to work on it. You know, I'm able to see that this is a problem, this is not suitable, this has done me no good in my lifetime, so now let me pull out of that and do something different this time. Inventory is a fact-finding, fact-facing process. It's unbelievable, and it can help anyone. It can help anyone. So we did the fourth column and explained how important the fourth column is, because I need to list everything. I want to know. And then we'll get down, when we get to the ninth step, right, and 8 will be done after inventory. We'll discuss that at a later date. But when we get through inventory, and I'm trying to make I want to list every possible harm that I did to an individual. Past, present, future, doesn't matter if it's connected to the situation that I wrote my resentment on or not. I want to know all the stuff I did to this person, you know, that set the ball rolling, you know. So then we go into the fear list, and we talked about fears last week, and the fear list, you can get to, when we go through the fears, and like we did last week, and we're talking about different fears and fear inventory, and it talks about we list our fears and why, and the truth is, like, you can go through every fear, and which ends up leading ultimately to death. And then why am I afraid is because, like, the truth, like, let's go through one. You know, I'm afraid of relapsing, right? So why am I afraid of relapsing? Because, like, I'm going to disappoint people. Why am I scared of disappointing people? You know, because people look up to me. Why am I scared of people not looking up to me? Because you know, I might end up using until, like, if I don't see any stuff for me to do in this world, then I'm going to end up, like, going high and choosing the bitter end. You know, choosing the left side of the way. And why am I scared of doing that? Because I'm going to end up dying. Why am I scared to die? Because I don't know God. I don't know God, you know, or I didn't know God. I know God today, thank God. And that's kind of like where every fear leads to that, you know. And then we can look at it at another angle and see that, like, my top fears in my first inventory were, number one was losing Crystal. That was number one on my list. Second to losing my mother. It might have been my mother first. I believe it was my mother first, Crystal. And then the third one was going to prison. Going back to prison for the rest of my life. And if I don't deal with those fears, and they're not put out in the open, and I'm not, like, connecting with God, right? Because as soon as I connect with God, even the fear of death, I remember driving down the road and just wanting to die. And I don't mean because I was suicidal, I wanted to die, because, like, I'd rather die than, like we talked about before, than disconnect with God. I'd rather die than risk living on and losing him again, because that was a horrible place to be. With no God in my life, it was horrible. And when you get it and you really get in touch with it, it's something that you want more of, and want to continue with, and want to, you know, perfect and enlarge on your spiritual life. So if those things happen and I'm still afraid of those things happening, and, you know, and I don't have God in my life, then most likely I am going to use, you know. If I didn't have God in my life when my fear did come true and Crystal passed away, then I wouldn't have been okay. 100%. I would have went with her. That's how we went. That's how we rolled. You know, you go, I go. That's just what it is. We had that like obsessive, crazy love. Whatever you do, you do. You die, I'm dying with you, and mean it type of love. You know that my heart hurts. I feel it physically when we're apart. Love, you know. And then 3, right? Going back to prison because I might not get out, right? Dying in jail. I went back to prison. As we talked about, 7 months. You know, 7 months in, I go back to jail. Or 4 months in. I was fresh in. You know, fresh into work. And I went back to prison and I made it through that. You know, it was unbelievable. You know, I got to get through that. I got to get through that. Unreal stuff has happened. So even the fears are important. And we also discussed where I'm getting most of the fears from, which is like I look at my 4th column after my 4th column is written, and I look in there what I'm scared of in those things. Why did I do these things to somebody? What was I scared of? I'm scared of getting my pride hurt. I'm scared of, whatever, you know, a fear of death, a fear of being cheated. You know, we discussed it. So after our fear list is done, we get into sex inventory. So first off, sex inventory could mean a lot of different things. So sex inventory, you could be talking about like sex, like the physical part of sexual intercourse. And then there's another part of it, and especially in first time going through inventory, it was a lot about, you know, sexual intercourse, my relationships with particular women that I've had strong and lasting relationships with, and the stuff that I did with them. So we'll get into the questions and stuff. But now going through inventory again, right, and several times, and now it's becoming about like how I use my sex. It ain't just about the sex process. It's about like I drive down the street and I got my window down. It's Florida. I always got my window down. I ain't got no AC anyway in my car, so my window is always down, usually even if it's raining. And I go into this, you know, all of a sudden I get into this mode like boom. You know how it is when you're in the car, different music's playing, and I don't have a radio, so different music's playing and stuff like that. So I'm listening to music or whatever, and then I see some chick pull up next to me, and she's right next to me, and I know, like, I'm not even to me, she's not attractive or anything, yet I want her to see me. So I put my arm out the window so she can see me. And like I pull up just enough so if when she looks over, she can see me, you know? And we're talking about stuff like that. How I'll flirt with women. How we'll go to a meeting, I'll carry the message and I'll see a hot chick, right? And this is stuff that came up through my inventory. I see a hot chick and all of a sudden I'm weaseling my way over there to their conversation so I can be seen. Here I am. Yo, what's up? Type of stuff. Or how I can even flirt with people to try to get something I want, you know, using my sex, using somebody else's sex actually that's attracted to me or whatever, and using that to like sway a decision or get something I want. So it's not always about the physical sex, you know, it's not about intercourse all the time. It's about how I'm using my sex in different areas, you know. So it's important that we discuss that you pay attention to, you know, that we pay attention to stuff like that, because it's important to see, because I want to see that stuff. And sometimes I don't even see it. I'll be at a 7-Eleven and see a chick walk in, and I'll walk out. All of a sudden I'm walking down aisles I don't even need to be down. I came there to get a Red Bull. I know where the Red Bull's at. Now I'm in the candy aisle and I don't even eat candy like that. And I'm in the candy aisle because she's in the aisle too. And oh, hey, how you doing? You know, just to bring something up because I'm trying to get something I want. Selfishness and self-centeredness, look at me. Or pride and ego pops up and a lot in sex inventory where I'm just like, here I am, I'm the man, you know? And what a horrible way to be. When I'm the man, then God isn't, and then I'm in a bad place, you know? And I want God to be the man all the time. And what better man is there, you know? What better employer, what better person can you possibly want in your life than a person that 100% got your life in his hands and will do anything for you and has done everything for you? So, let's get to some sex inventory. So, about sex. Let's talk about sex. We're on the bottom of page 68. Everything up until this point on this page is basically fear inventory. And then at the bottom of the page of 68, the last paragraph starts sex inventory. So it says now about sex. Many of us needed an overhaul in there. But above all, we tried to be sensible on this question. Am I going to be a priest, right? And never have sex again, you know? Far-fetched, you know? Am I not going to be attracted to a chick and end up in the same aisle as her at the 7-Eleven? Very far-fetched. But how I react to the situation fully, I can be aware of anyway. So, above all, we try to be sensible on this question. It's so easy to get way off track. Here we find human opinions run into extremes, absurd extremes, perhaps. One set of voices cry that sex is the lust of our lower nature. When you're having a spiritual experience, you'll feel that at times, like, oh, you know, questioning stuff. A base necessity of procreation, that's it. And then we have the voices who cry for sex and more sex, who bewail the institution of marriage. Bewail, express great regret, right? Hate marriage, right? They can't stand, they had expressed great regret over marriage. The institution of marriage. And marriage is an institution, so it could be listed in your inventory. Who think that most of the troubles of the race are traceable to sex causes. They think we do not have enough of it, or it isn't the right kind. Sound familiar? They see its significance everywhere. Everywhere. One school would allow man no flavor for his fare, and the other would have us on a straight pepper diet. Okay. I don't want to say too much. I'll just say this. There are people who say, hey, we're staying out of relationships for the first year and stuff like that, right? And cool with that. And you can have an enormous experience with that and have a great experience with doing stuff like that. But it's not the program, you know? That's not the program. That's outside of the program. It's outside of AA and the 12 steps that says stuff like that. However, you could definitely have an amazing experience with that. But there are people in sponsorship families that say, yo, no, you know, men or no women or whatever for a year. Cool, right? One school allowed man no flavor for his fare, and the other would have us on a straight pepper diet. Check this out, and I underline this. We want to stay out of this controversy. We do not want to be the arbiter of anybody's sex conduct. Black and white. We all, every last one of us have sex problems. We'd hardly be human if we didn't. What can we do about them? Question mark. Now we're getting ready to go into the inventory. What can we do about them? Number one, right? What can I do about them? So this is what we can do. And I highlight this whole paragraph because this is really all the questions. You can mark the questions down or whatever. We'll get into that in a second. So we reviewed our conduct. Our conduct is our personal behavior of acting, directing, or managing stuff. You get it? So it's not even about the sex act. Oh, well, I had sex with her. You know, it's about the stuff that I do to weasel my way into that. The stuff that I do without even trying to get that, or just trying to. Sex is, I mean, I can, just attention is enough sometimes. Just getting the attention, you know, is enough. So I gotta review my conduct. I gotta review my personal behavior, my way of acting and managing things. Oh, I review my conduct over the past, the years past. The years past. In connection with a resentment or not. Doesn't have to be on your resentment list. We're talking about people that you was completely manipulating and trying to get your way out of, and you ain't even got a resentment. They ain't do nothing but love you to death, but you weaseled your way in there and presented yourself I presented myself as a person that I wasn't, just to get you. Over the years past. So I review my conduct over the past, right? Where had I been selfish? Where had I been dishonest? Where had I been inconsiderate? Question mark. Whom had I hurt? Past, present, and future. Who had I hurt? Did we unjustifiably arouse jealousy, suspicion, or bitterness? I remember thinking that my girlfriend was cheating back in the day. And I remember thinking, fancied her real, right? It was real to me. I know she's out with somebody, right? I remember even Googling. I used to stalk her, climb trees and stuff, man. It was, I'm telling you, I was ridiculous, man. So let me see your phone. I was that dude. So I get into this thing where I know she's cheating, right? I Google signs of a cheating spouse. 26 to 28 flags pop up for her. So I know, I'm like, and I even sat her at the computer like, yo, look, you tell me you ain't cheating. It's right here on Google. I'm telling you, some ridiculous stuff, man. You tell me Google's wrong. So it's funny now, but it was not funny going through this stuff. So I remember being in that position and telling her like, yo, man, sitting down, doing the Google thing, knowing she's cheating. So when she would call me and I was alone, I would do stuff like this. Hey, what's up? Hey, where you at? Hold on. Yo, shh, be quiet. And I would do stuff like that, and there's nobody with me. There's nobody with me. I just want her to be jealous and form some type of bitterness that I'm doing the same thing she's doing, and she might not even be doing it. I just think she's doing it. Get what I'm saying? I know everybody's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you said we've done it. All of us, most of us anyway. Where have we been selfish, dishonest, or inconsiderate? Whom had we hurt? Did we unjustifiably arouse suspicion or bitterness? Where were we at fault? What should we have done instead? We got this down on paper and we looked at it. So how we do this is like, I'll give you some examples of some stuff, right? I review my conduct. Andrea, I ain't gonna say her last name. Andrea, that was her. That was her in school, right? 6th grade, it was Andrea. And I was like, man. And I didn't even see her yet. And it's funny because one of the people I know here had the same experience, and we went through it. We were actually just talking about it today. I seen her, and I was like, man, I didn't see her. Before I seen her, they said, yo, it's a new girl in school. And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, man, she's bad. And I was like, really? And they were like, yeah, but she don't talk. And I was like, already, she's bad, she don't talk. I'll get her to talk, right? Already from the door, ain't even met her yet. I'm already stuck in selfishness and self-centeredness. I'm always trying to get my way, right? And boom, hey, what's up? How are you? Do you need, now I'm playing Mr. Nice Guy. Like, my whole motive is I'm going to get that. But my whole motive to her is like, oh, he's so nice. I'm presenting this stage character like I'm this dude that's going to be amazing. And I'm going to just show you around school in the neighborhood. Where do you live? Do you want to hang out? I'll show you around and stuff. And my whole kick was like, that's her. And for real, there might have been another woman that I thought was more attractive, but everybody else thought that she was the most attractive, so I went for her. So, where had I been selfish, dishonest, inconsiderate, right? Whom had we hurt? There's been women, there was a woman in my life, past, present, and future, and I got to make an amends with her. And when I did, I asked her, like, how did this affect you? And she told me, man, this still affects me today. It still affects my relationships now. I'm always playing second best, and I'm tired of it. And it affected her kids, her mom, I don't want to get too far into detail because we're on, there's stuff that I would share with you if we were on a group level, because there's nothing that I'll give you my whole fifth step. But on this platform, I can't. So let's just stick to the basics here, more than basics, but let's just stay to that. And I'm telling myself that. We reviewed our conduct over the past, where we've been selfish, dishonest, and considerate. So there's two ways to do this. You can answer each individual question, right? I review my conduct, right? My behavior, my way of acting or managing the situation, as we just described. The years past, all of them, resentment or not, in connection with a resentment or not. Where had I been selfish or dishonest? Writing down where not, oh yeah, I was selfish. Yeah, I was this. Some people got like a sex inventory worksheet and they're like, yeah, it's sex. And you just write yes, yes, yes. No. Where were you selfish? Explain. Where were you dishonest? The times you lied. The times that you did stuff by omission or admission, Where were you inconsiderate? Rather they know about them or not. Where were you inconsiderate? This is important. We're on a journey to connect more to God. Let's be clear. We need to do this stuff. This is important work. I want to connect with you. Whom had we hurt, past, present, and future? You want to see who you affected, how this affected another person. You want to put yourself in their shoes and see how they were hurt. They're going to tell you anyway in the ninth step if you're inviting about it. However, like, we can see it now. I want to see it. Did we unjustifiably arouse jealousy, suspicion? It isn't a yes or no question. Where did I do these things? Where did I unjustifiably arouse suspicion and jealousy like I just described to you? I would make calls and stuff like that. Where were we at fault? Where's the loss of continuity? What did I do to mess it up? First thing I'm doing in sex inventory, I'll get to that in a second. And what should we have done instead? What should I have done instead? A lot of times in sex inventory, especially if you're on the next round, it's like you probably shouldn't have been in it to begin with. You should have left it alone to begin with because it was all about just you. Should have just left it alone, man. I should have gave her a real shot. I shouldn't have told her those things that I didn't mean. I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have took her stuff. I shouldn't have taken advantage of her. I shouldn't have wanted her because everybody else did. We got this all down on paper and we looked at it. Page 69. Cool place for sex inventory, huh? We got it all down on paper and we looked at it. So how we do sex inventory is we write the person, right? So it'll be the person. Doesn't matter if it's sex or just like when trying to weasel my way into something, or I'm paying attention to everything, right? So the sticking my hand out the window because the girls next to me, are at the red light. I'm talking about anything, I want to review my conduct. So I write the name, how did we meet? This is first and foremost, how did we meet? I can tell you that most of my inventory, especially first and second inventory, even third, we met at a meeting. We met at a meeting, Good place to pay attention to, we met at a meeting. That's usually a lot of mine. Where do we meet? A meeting. What happened? I took her out for coffee, and dinner, and we got to connect, and we started to talk about God or something like that, and then all of a sudden, and then what happened? So, how did we meet? Right? Name, how did we meet? On the paper, it'll be name. I don't want to give you all the names. Is that the names? Name, how did we meet? What happened? And then where's the relationship now? So that's the first three things, right? Name, how did we meet? What happened? I went to jail. That's usually the case with me. I went to jail, or I got bored, or I somebody else caught my eye, right? And then where's the relationship now? It's in good standing. We talk, or she don't talk to me. She don't want nothing to do with me. We talk every now and then. We're Facebook, whatever, right? So name, what happened, name, how you met, what happened, where it's at now. That's first. And then we get into these questions. Because a lot of the times, all these questions are answered in the first part of it. How we met was selfish and dishonest. How was inconsiderate, right? How we met, what happened. All I wanted was a shot, right? I'm just being real with you. Like that's mostly the whole thing. The whole kick is like just to try to get something, And sometimes I got to go into the relationship to see that. How did it begin? It began in selfishness and self-centeredness. From the door, I had her plugged before I even met her. I didn't even see her, and I was like, I'm going to get her because everyone else said that she's hot. Like the whole relationship was like that. So I review those things. And then I answer these questions. You can answer these questions. A lot of people talk about this. You can answer these questions individually, in detail. Remember, we're not on the second column, Jimmy punched me in the face, stale milk, whatever stuff. We're in like what exactly I did. Where was I inconsiderate? I was inconsiderate here. Where was I selfish? Sex inventory was my biggest inventory. This is how we met. And then here goes my sex inventory. That's one person. And you can answer the questions individually on each individual question. Where you were dishonest everywhere, where you were dishonest, unjustifiably aroused suspicion and bitterness, or you can answer in paragraph form, right? Just long as you're answering all the questions. I can do it in a paragraph form, Either way, we're answering the questions. And a lot of the times, this is what we're thinking about a lot in the fifth step, in our power hour and stuff like that. The hour is a lot about what we should have done instead. What we can do to amend it, So after I'm done with all my sex inventory, right, of a lot of the same stuff is going to come up, and you're going to see it, met, meeting. I've seen that a lot in my inventory. We met at a meeting. We talked, I got her number, we hung out a few times, and then boom, we started kicking it, you know? And that happened a lot with me, you know? Still happens. And it's not a bad thing, because, like, I live this life, so where else would I meet, you know, a woman? I see a woman that's attractive, and she's on fire for the spirit, so it's nothing. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with meeting someone at a meeting. I'm just saying that, like, looking at it, there are times, especially in the beginning, where, like, that's all it was about. I actually remember that me and my boys, before doing inventory, before doing step work, where recovery was just about going to a meeting and then we'll go to the next meeting. I remember going to those meetings, and I remember they read Why Are We Here in a different fellowship that I, you know, in one of the other 12-step fellowships. Why are we here? And me and my boys would be in the meeting, and we would say, the bitches. That's what we would say. They would go, why are we here? Can someone read Why Are We Here? And then we would say, the bitches. Because that's what it was about. It was a social event. I can tell you today that this thing is powerful, and it's so much more than a social event. So after we do inventory and the sex inventory is finished, we do something like this. This is how we look at our sex insane ideal life. In this way, we tried to shape, we're on the middle of 69. In this way, after we go through this inventory and we review it, in this way, we tried to shape a sane and sound idea for our future sex life. I want to get better at those things. So I'm looking at my inventory and I'm like, man, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like this. And everything and we're not talking about, let me keep going. We subjected each relation to the test. Was it selfish or not? Selfish. Let me answer that. For me, every last one of them. We asked God to mold our ideas and to help us live up to them. God, mold my ideas and what I want out of a future sex life, right? Or even sex conduct, the conduct. You know, we subjected each relation to the test. Was it selfish or not? We asked God to mold our ideas and help us to live up to them. We remembered always that our sex powers were God-given and therefore good, neither to be used lightly or selfishly, nor to be despised or loathed. How can I do this? So when I'm writing my sex, we're not talking about, like, I'm just going to be blunt, all right? We're not talking about I want a chick that's 5'3", blonde hair, blue eyes, A-cup titties, and a butt. We're not talking about that. I want a guy with this size penis. We're not talking about none of that stuff. We're talking about how you want to be to another person, and then you want to live up to that. So I asked God to help me live up to that, because remember, we're on this journey to try to let God bring us to better things. So when I look at this inventory, I don't want to be this person anymore, because all of it's self-seeking and dishonest. So what can I do to prevent myself from being like this again? And then I write down this stuff. I want to be compassionate. I want to be understanding. I want to get to know someone before I jump into a relationship or have sex. I want to, like, pull up to the red light and not worrying about the chick next to me. You know, I don't want to, I want to be like when a guy asks me for coffee, you know, and I'm like, yeah, can you get me one? Because I know he's attracted to me, right? Then I'm going to refrain from that, because I know he's attracted to me and I don't even want to open that door up, you know? We're talking about stuff like that, stuff that I want to be. I want to be different. I want to be completely different. I want things to different. When a girl talks to me, I want to react differently. No, you know, when a super, and this happens, I have to say that it does happen. I carry the message. I'm a carrier of the message. So chicks will come up and say, hey, like, what's up? You know, and I have to refrain from that. What would that do for the message? You know, how I want my character and my actions to meet. You know, I don't want to freaking be known as, like, The newcomer chick snatching her up and taking her home. I don't want to be that dude. I've been that dude before I knew what this is about. And I don't want to be that dude no more. You know? I don't want people to say, oh, check him out, and then being caught up in something. What is someone that's completely stuck in selfish and self-centered ways got from me anyway? It's just trying to it's all about the fantasy that I come up in my head. We're talking about porn stuff as in sex conduct. I watch porn, I masturbate, and I feel guilty. I don't want to do that no more. I don't want to watch porn and come up with some fantasy, then expect some woman to live up to it, you know? I don't want to do this stuff. I want to be kind, considerate. I want to be honest. I want a relationship to be like this. And I'm listing all these things in my future sound sex idea. And that's what I'm doing. After sex inventory and we answer these questions, I'm listing what I want. What I want, not what I want from a woman, but what I want to be. What do I want to be in a relationship? Or even outside the relationship, how do I want to conduct myself? How do I want to conduct myself? How do I want to be better? You know? How do I not want to jump on? I don't want to jump on everything that comes my way. You know, I want to give other people a shot to have the Spirit and experience what I have. You know? And then usually what happens is when I come up with this person that I want to be in the relationship and in my sex conduct, you know, it usually sounds like a good classification of what God is, you know. Honest, considerate, he's there, you know. Compassionate, affectionate, you know, loving. You know, and I can come up with, and that could be like, I could even come up with my conception of God and how beautiful God is through this inventory. Like I want to be these things to someone, and that's how I want my God to be. I don't want that fire and brimstone God. I want my God to love me, you know, to be there for me, no matter what, you know. And I find out through doing these things and waking up, because this whole thing is about waking up, waking my spirit up. I just want to be awake today. And the whole thing when I'm waking up is like I get to be beneficial to others then. And what an amazing, and then I start to connect with God. Like I love it, you know. Whatever our idea turns out to be, bottom of 69. Whatever our idea turns out to be. We must be willing to move toward it. And some days I'm not. Some days you'll get stuck in some selfish, self-centered stuff, and you'll see a chick or a girl, if you're a woman, you know, you'll see a guy and me see a girl, you know, and like be like, oh my gosh, like, and then all of a sudden the fantasy, and then if I'm dwelling on this fantasy and I'm playing with it, and the first thing, remember, this whole disease starts in the mind rather than in the body. So I need to get, no. Then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, it's okay though. It's okay. We're just talking as friends, you know, and then all of a sudden I'm in this like relationship that I don't want to be in. And now I'm stuck having to hurt someone. Now I got to hurt somebody. And that freaking sucks. So I got to be willing to grow toward it. You're going to mess up. Guaranteed. You're going to mess up. However, you get better. I just want to get better, as it's going to describe later on right here. We got to get better. So I got to be willing to grow toward it. We must, circle must, we must be willing to make an amends where we have done harm, provided that we do not bring about still more harm in doing so. I'm willing to make an amends. I'm willing to tell this person and not to get back, not to fix stuff, right? Not for some self-seeking, self-centered way. I'm willing to make an amends because I was wrong. Nothing other than that. I don't want to make an amends because the shot was good or you know, whatever, and I want to do it again, you know. I want to make an amends because I was wrong and I want to get better. Provided that we do not bring still more harm in doing so. In other words, we treat sex as we would any other problem. My man I'm working with now, man, this is the issue. We treat sex as we would any other problem. Any other, which includes drugs and alcohol. Right? Like I would any other problem. I start obsessing, boom, I'm gone. You know? So I gotta clear it's in the mind rather than the body, you know. In meditation, so it's letting us know, it's been letting us know, but however, we're in it again. We're in the fourth step. We're not on step 11 or 10. We're in step 4. In meditation, I'm trying to practice these things now. And if you're awake through 1, 2, and 3, or at least waking up, you're going to want to have an encounter and get better with God anyway. So you're already trying to do meditation and prayer more often. At meditation, we ask God. So remember what we said about any time the book says we ask, it means we pray. We pray to God that we should do what we should do about each specific matter. If I'm making amends to her, this is what I'm thinking about in my 5th step to it. Should I be, if I'm making amends to her, is that going to cause more harm? Am I going to, is she going to end up wanting to get back with me? Am I going to end up wanting to get back her? Let's be serious, you know. Then that's probably not a good one to make at this time, you know. The right answer will come. And you're talking to God, so let God guide you. Let the Spirit tell you, man. Let God guide you in the direction. Don't let nobody else guide you, you know, unless you need guidance and you ask God for direction and then you ask someone and then they give you an answer or whatever, however God speaks to you. Cool, right? In meditation, we ask God what we should do about each specific matter. The right answer will come if we want it. It will come. You ain't gotta look for it. It'll come to you. God alone, none of y'all, not any person, God alone can judge our sex situation. Sick, man. Page 70. Ooh, yeah. Counsel with persons is often desirable, but we let God be the final judge. We realize that some people are as fanatical about sex as others are loose. We avoid hysterical thinking or advice. I think you should leave her. You know, I mean, we avoid hysterical thinking or advice, you know. Let me say this. You definitely don't want to go and get advice and ask somebody what their thoughts are that aren't awake. I just went through this in my past relationship, you know. Such and such said, and I just, you know, people who are awake will give you, you know, try to give you good advice, or they'll do as the book describes it, or they'll do as God, and they'll tell you, man, hey, man, you got to do it. I don't tell nobody don't get in a relationship. I tell them go ahead and get in a relationship, you know. Let me know how that goes, man. You know, and you bring God into it, and you know you'll be all right. But beware of them, and you just get better. That's how I got better. I got into them. That's how I got better at relationships and staying out of certain stuff. Is I got into it, you know. But I'm hard-headed, so maybe you can learn from and be wise and learn from someone else's mistakes. I wasn't able to do that. Suppose we fall short, and from the chosen idea, we stumble, right? I got this idea of my sex life and I fall short of it, of what I want to be, right? So it doesn't say she falls short, so it's telling you it's about you, not about I want the girl to be like this. It's about you. I want to be like this in my relationships. So I fall short with it, right? Does this mean that we're going to get drunk? Let's talk about falling short. Some people tell us so, but this is only half truth. It depends on us and our motives. Am I getting into this just to get it shot? And okay, even if I did, am I willing to continue to do it and continue to cause harm? What are my motives for real? Is my motive to have a toy? Is my motive to have a relationship? Or is my motive to stay out of stuff? What is it? You know? But this is only the half truth. It depends. It depends. This is what it depends on. Us and our motives. If I mess up, and you're going to mess up, right? Okay, cool. I messed up. I want to get better. Let me get better. And that's how I got better. I made some mistakes. But this is only half truth. I'm not telling you to make mistakes. Let me be clear on that. If we are sorry, and I highlight and underline all this, important. If we are sorry for what we have done and have the honest desire to let God take us to better things, if I'm sorry for what I did and I'm trying to get better and grow towards God and effectiveness and understanding and trying to perfect and enlarge on my spiritual life, we believe we will be forgiven and will have learned our lesson. If we are not sorry and our conduct continues, whatever the conduct is, you know, not just the sex. And we're talking about the conduct of, look at me, attention, because that builds ego. Ego gets me high. So you know, for me. We believe we will be forgiven and will have learned our lesson. If we are not sorry and our conduct continues to harm others, we are quite sure to drink. We are not theorizing. This is not a theory. These are facts out of our experience. If I continue to be selfish and self-centered and looking for what I'm going to get from the show and hurting people and causing harm and being a freaking smut, running around, messing around with people, and that's cool as long as I'm trying to get better and I'm getting sorry for it, right? And I don't want to do it anymore, but I fall into it now, but then I back out. That's cool, and I'm asking to be forgiven, and I'm trying hard to get better, but when I'm doing this shit and I know what I'm doing, but I continue, we're not theorizing. You're going to get high and drunk. These are facts out of our experience. To sum up about sex, we earnestly pray for the right idea, for guidance in each questionable situation, for sanity. And should I be talking to him or not? Should I be talking to her or not? If you're a guy, girl, whatever. If I'm a guy, should I be talking to her? If I'm whatever, even if your twist is man, you're a man. Doesn't matter, whatever. To sum up about sex, we earnestly pray for the right idea. God, let me live up to this. For guidance in each questionable situation. Is this okay or not? Is this going to get me into trouble? Should I just, get to know this person first? If sex is very troubling, we pray for the right questionable situation, for sanity, and for the strength to do the right thing. That's what I'm praying for. And then we got this thing, right, which is, this was me. If sex is very troublesome, which it was, we throw ourselves harder into helping others. It's when you're carrying the message and you're working with sponsees and you're doing the deal right and you're worrying about carrying the message and not going to the meeting because Susie Q's there or Brittany's over. It's always Brittany. My people in my group always laugh at me because I always use the name Brittany and I don't even know a Brittany. Britney Spears. So it's like, am I going to the meeting for Brittany or am I going there to carry? Am I, even sex conduct, am I raising my hand because I want to sound good to the chick next to me? Or am I raising my hand because I'm trying to carry the message? What am I going to do? We earnestly pray for the right idea, for guidance in each questionable situation, for sanity, and for the strength to do the right thing. If sex is very troublesome, we throw ourselves that much harder into working with others. We think of their needs and work for them. It's hard to think about sex all the time when it's always on your mind, and you start working with other people and what you can do for other people and keep your conduct and your motives right. We think of their needs and work for them. This takes us out of ourselves. It quiets the imperious urge, the dominating urge, the imperious urge. It quiets The dominating urge that tells me, man, we got to get some tonight, you know. Urge when to yield, when to give in would mean heartache. I give into it. The chick's hollering. It only got to be me talking to a chick, because the justifiable reason for me back in the day was, oh, well, she hollered at me, you know. And I'd use that to the end, you know. That'd be the thing to the end. Well, she talked to me, so, you know, I mean, I wasn't even trying to go at her. She kept coming at me, man, so I did it, you know. Oh, man. It's going to cause heartache, because I ain't got no plans on being in no relationship with this woman or none of that stuff, or man, or whatever your twist is. And I'm like, man, I don't, you know, it's going to cause heartache. It's going to cause harm. But it took a lot of banging my head to figure that one out, where I don't want to cause harm. And sometimes I still cause harm, you know. If we have been thorough about our personal inventory, we have written down a lot. We're moving into the end of the inventory, but not the end. We have listed and analyzed our resentments, right? All 4 columns: fear inventory, sex inventory, right? We have begun to comprehend their futility and their fatality. We have commenced to see their terrible destructiveness. It's us. I ain't gonna say what it should say. Our terrible destructiveness. We have begun to learn tolerance, patience, and goodwill toward all men. This is what happens after inventory. Even our enemies. For we look at them as sick people, no matter what. Rather, they did something to you first and you never did nothing to them or not. They're sick people. I'm willing to look at it like that. And if I'm not, then I pray until I am willing. We have listed the people we have hurt by our conduct, personal behavior, fixing, mixing, and managing, and are willing to straighten out the past if we can. If we can, I'm willing to straighten out the past. This is at the end of the 4th step. We're already talking about I'm willing to straighten out the past. Remember, 8 of the 12 steps come from inventory. In this book, you read again and again that faith did for us what we could not do for ourselves. We hope that you are convinced now that God can remove whatever self-will has blocked you off from Him. Whew, I love this, man. If you have already made a decision and an inventory of your grosser handicaps, you have made a damn good beginning, man. That being so, you have swallowed and digested some big chunks of truth about yourself. Amazing. So at the end of sex inventory, there's a couple more things. After our sex inventory, after our sex idea, I do 2 things. Some sponsors do, they'll write down your character defects. After going through this, I ask you to find your character assets. Write a list of your character assets. And coming through this, you know, going through inventory, especially for the first time when you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this stuff, yet you're willing to straighten it out, right? And you're feeling a little like down on yourself for the stuff that you did and the harm that you caused, which is kind of what happens, right? You end up in this position where you got to do, I need some good stuff about myself. So if you can't see it, ask the people that are closest to you, family members, significant others, like people that are going to give you the hard, cold truth, people that you know ain't going to lie to you, and ask them, hey man, what are my character assets? And list them. List your character assets. And after you're done your character assets, we do a harms list. And a harms list is just people that you've harmed that you had no connection with a resentment. Like, not people that did you dirty, then you did them dirty. I'm talking about like White House on the corner that I robbed. They had zero to do with me being angry at all. I just went up in there because I needed something. Whatever, you know, whoever, whatever, right? People that you did dirty that didn't do anything to you, but you still did them dirty. People cars I stole. I still haven't made that amends. I'm not sure if it's good to do that because there's some legal problems with me doing one of these. Like I stole one of my neighbor's cars. They got like a house, like a triangle house, and I went in there. I stole their car. And I want to make an amends for stealing their car, but I'm not positive on how to approach that, or even if they still live there or not. It's been freaking 20 years for that. So harms list. Who and what I did, right? Who I did it to. White House on the corner. I stole their stuff. I was a car thief. I stole hundreds of cars. So, I can get into that, but I couldn't remember everyone or where or anything like that. But for the most part, some people that you did dirty that didn't do nothing to you, maybe put some names and faces to it. It's all beneficial to you. And then we'd be done inventory. That would be the end of inventory. So next week we'll get into action, or excuse me, is it next week? Yeah, Saturday. Sorry, Saturday we'll get into action, and we'll go into chapter 6 on page 72. So thank you guys for joining, man. God bless you, and have an amazing night. And may you be filled with the Spirit and go and help and communicate with others and think about somebody but ourselves, man, and ask God to reveal Himself to you in the morning. I'm sure He will. God bless you and good night.